Okay, welcome students to the session of Software Engineering Project Management on 13th of August 2020 for the single point in the sixth unit. Actually, sixth unit is based on this point only. PERT, CPM, and the recent advancement in software engineering and project management trends. So we have discussed this recent advancement in the software engineering project management trends in uh, okay, Choksi, what's want to say? Gaurav, Gaurav raise hand and then suddenly uh, done something good. So yesterday we have seen this thing about recent advancement in software engineering and project management trends. So in detail. So now for 6 unit as per your syllabus only 3 hours are given. So today we are going to see the basic principles of the PERT and CPM or CPM and PERT. Okay, so whatever you can say in that fashion only. So let's try to understand first this using a basic theory presentation, and then we will go through the what can I say the actual examples of the PERT afterwards. So let's say this. I'm simply recommending presentation slides. So what is PERT and what is CPM? In 1950, early 1950, this CPM was developed, and around 1957, that is the late 1950s, what we call it, late 50s, PERT was developed. PERT was developed by US Navy, while this CPM was developed by Kelly. And these are actually the diagrams, project networking, network technique to schedule and what you can say to optimally conduct the project so that the minimal project failure will happen in the entire evaluation. So PERT have two long form. One is called as nowadays due to the software engineering as a program evaluation and review technique, but its original name is project evaluation and review technique. CPM is critical path method. PERT was designed actually or invented or can say created by US Navy for Navy SEAL operations. The commando operations generally they are doing. They made this thing. So how this PERT node is there? It's a graph actually. So PERT node is like this. That is, you are having a rectangular box. This within this rectangular box, you are having another rectangular box. Okay, and this rectangular box are then divided into what you can say three parts. Upper rectangular box is divided into three parts, and the lower rectangular box is divided into three parts. Okay, now this middle part of the rectangle is having what you can say the activity name. So here you can have the activity name. Here you can have what you can say activity name, any activity name that you are doing in your project. And here you are having what you can say the optimal time required to finish this activity, optimal time. Okay, then what you can say, you have the average time required to finish this activity, and then you are having the worst time required to finish this activity. So optimal time is always minimal than this average time is minimal than worst time. For example, let's say suppose to do something you require suddenly, then here you are having the start. Okay, so you are starting at a particular time. For example, let's say suppose optimal time is 2 week and you are starting on the 12th of August. Okay, so start is different from the optimal time. Optimal time is the duration, length, while the start is the exact point from where you are starting. Okay, so you are having the start, then you are having here two things, what they call as a finish. Okay, so you are having this start and finish, and here you are having what they call as a early start and early finish. So either you can have the ES or EF. So such type of node is created for the PERT, and is actually considered three dimensions for completion of the any task. And here you are having generally the task name and what you can say the task, you can say symbol. So task symbol means like this. You can say A is a task. Okay, you can say that A is a task, and for this task A, okay, you are giving some name. Let's say call this A is a task for analysis. Okay, so you know that is when you say A, you are doing the analysis. Analysis started on say Monday, on say Thursday of the August 12 August 13 2020, and in a 2 week you are going to finish it. Okay, so that is what you can say the duration required, and likewise. So if you go with this, this is what your PERT node look like. So PERT node is look like this, and then there is a CPM node, or what we call as a critical path node, generally shown by the simple node symbol that we use in a graphs. Okay, the only thing is that some advancement is made in this node symbol by the Microsoft and other project, you can say uh, creation group. So they created this node in this fashion. So here you are having what you can say the start. Okay, this is what we call as a start. This you can call as a finish. Yes. So this is the finish thing, and then here for here for this, after this finish, you may have for here the what you can say your name, the lower part of this node. So these nodes are generally connected, means if you are having a part, you are having the rectangular nodes. Okay, detailing everything, and these rectangular nodes are connected with some you can say arrow diagrams like this. So that is, this is what you can say the thing. So simply speaking, whatever your activities you are carrying out, and for a CPM you are having the nodes like this. Okay, one node is there, another node is there, and then you can connect this one node with the another node. So when we say PERT and CPM, that simply means whatever diagram, whatever work you are having, you are actually trying to order that work, and then you are trying to create the graph. Once the entire graph, generally this called as an activity graph, or this also called as a project network. Once this complete project network is designed by you, you can then try to find out the optimal path in you know that is we are going to discuss the shortest path algorithm and likewise. So you can go and find an optimal or shortest path in that particular project network to finish that project within what you can say minimal time or within a optimal time. And that's what PERT or CPM is very important in the project management thing. And so it's generally I say you can consider this PERT and management. हॅलो मॅडम, मी लेक्चरमध्ये आहे आता. हो, हो. 11:45 पर्यंत. ओके, हां. So this PERT and CPM are something what we require to consider. Now we can consider the PERT and CPM in in terms of what we call as the project visualization. So what say suppose you want to make a tea, cup of tea. Okay, so for this making a cup of tea, you have one point. Let's show this point, one point using filled circle here. These symbols are asymptotic, means you can even use the round symbol for drawing your PERT diagram. It is not a CPM thing, but generally nowadays for showing the PERT, they uses the rectangular node. So you are having this start symbol. Okay. Now this start symbol is, that is, you want to make a cup of tea. So what will be your first, you can say, activity? What will be your second activity? What will be your third activity? What will be your fourth activity? Let's say these are the some activities are there, and after this you are having what you can say this and activity, and here you can say this is your finish. Okay, so you finish things here. Now you have to number these activities, like, so you have the activity 1. Okay, you have the activity 2, then you have the activity 3. Okay, you have the activity 4, you have the activity 5. Yes, and you have to go with this. So you can go like this, that is start, you go to the activity 1. So activity 1, whatever the activity 1 is there, you are having the description of activity 1 here on the head of the node. Let's say activity 1 says that gather all the what can say ingredients for tea making. Okay, then what is the activity 2? Here say activity 2 is that keep tea, milk, sugar for cooking in the pot. So that is the activity 2, you can say. Or you can here you can have the activity 3. You can say that is only say keep this tea, and say, so because you want a milk tea or you want a black tea. Okay, then you can go to the activity what we can say 4. So you are having this activity 4. Okay. Then activity 4 is, that is after activity 4 you are having the activity 5. Pour the tea in a cup, and activity 6 is, that is, you are saying that is finish. So here you can completely say that activity 5 finish means mm, you can drink the tea. So this is what we call as a critical path method, or this is what we can say project creating a project network for making a cup of tea. Okay, or this is also the program evaluation and review technique for making a cup of tea. So here you can have the start time. Let's say suppose at 7:30 p.m. you started making tea. Okay, first activity finish from 7:30 to 7:45. Then second activity started on 7:45 and get finished on 7:50. Or say third activity started on 7:45 and finish at the 7 say 48. So this is 7:50, this is 7:48. So obviously if you take this path here, if you take this path, this is 2 seconds or something 2 minutes faster than the second path. So obviously this is the shortest path method, or this is what we call as the optimal way of executing your uh, complete project. So generally when we go on creating this CPM, or what we call as a PERT network, we are considering all these things. We are going to see the examples, means a problem statement, then the examples and everything, if time permits in today's lecture. If not time permits, then tomorrow's lecture. That's what we say. So now let's start with the theoretical what we can, or the historically important information about the PERT CPM. Okay, and likewise. So let's, what are the things that we are going to learn here? We are going to learn very much about the PERT, and then we are going to learn about the CPM. So PERT is in yesteryears used to called as a project evaluation and review technique. Okay, because PERT is designed or invented by US Navy in 1957 to build what you can say the military projects, or US Navy SEALs 11th hour dams, bridges, other things while doing some military operations. So PERT was actually used for that. So evaluation review technique. And CPM is a critical path method which was designed in 1950 for creating this constructions and other like or the work in a industry for the conveyor belt and something. So these are the methods that we are going to see now. So program or project evaluation and review technique part, as I told you, is developed in 1957 by US Navy. It is an activity to understand following things. First is the planning. Second is the arrangement or arranging. Once you plan everything, you require to arrange the data also according to the plan. Then the scheduling and this coordinating and the governing or monitoring everything of the project or a program. So if you are creating a software, what you require for the software, the first step is the communication planning. Then you require to go for the design. Designing is nothing but the arrangement or arranging. Once design is done, you require to create the schedule for implementation. So scheduling is actually the implementation. Then you have the coordination. That is, once this implementation is doing, you require to coordinate for the integration of these things. And while all those operations goes on, you require to govern the entire project. So governing entire project is also very important. Today's attendees count is very less till now. It's only 59. What I'm asking you, ask all your friends to remain present for the SCPM lectures, because maybe within 2 or 3 days we are going to finish our entire SCPM. Okay, this is the last point of software engineering and project management, PERT and CPM. After this, 2 or 3 lectures that we are going to take only for the revision and few examples, nothing else. Okay, so for at least for this last 2 3 lectures, what I expect you to give me the 100% presently, if possible. If not 100%, at least 90% presently I expect. That is, out of 135 students or 133 students, whatever the strength is there, okay, at least 100 students required to remain present for these last few days for the SCPM, because that will actually average your overall attendance, and again that will also help you in uh, doing everything in a smooth way. Okay, thank you very much. So just call your friends to log in as soon as possible. Okay. So this project evaluation and review techniques. So here you are having the communication, then you are using the design or say analysis, design. Here you go with the coding. Here you go with the coordinating, means the testing. And once you coordinate and you do everything, you require to govern all those things. So someone required to do what you can say the governing. So generally this PERT and CPM techniques called as a work breakdown structure. Okay, work breakdown structure. So here the entire software projects works, WBS, is breakdown into smaller activities, and then those activities get arranged in such a fashion that the entire software development need to happens within a stipulated time. Now what is stipulated time or something? Say suppose you got a project and here is the time given. Okay, so your project starts, let's say suppose at the 08th week. So that is the start time of your project, and you are given with the maximum limit of, say suppose they say that is you are given with the 16 week time duration. 4 week is equal to 1 month, so you are having four, sorry, not 16, actually 15 week here we can say, because 08th week means if you go with the computer engineering, 0 to 15, that means 16 week time is given. So within a 16 weeks of time you require to finish the project. And say suppose if you fail to finish this project, if you fail to finish this project within 15 week, the negative margin given you with penalty. Means let's say for 16th week, only 1 week extra time is given by your customer, and it say that is if you finish this project or if you complete the project uh, in a after 15 week, you require to pay back as a penalty to the customer. Means let's say suppose customer says that for 0 to 15 week you are going to get 1 lakh rupees. Okay, but if you pass that boundary, you have to pay back 10,000 rupees to the customer. Okay. Now customer is also giving you the advantage, that is if you finish the things before due date, let's say in a 14th week, so that is within a 15 week instead of within uh, mm, this 16 week, you finish within 0 to 14, that is 15 week your work. Instead of giving you the 1 lakh rupees only, the customer is saying that is this going to give you the 10,000 extra. Now what you will like to do, to get 10,000 extra from your customer, or to what can say deduct 10,000 from your 1 lakh rupees? Obviously you would like to get 10,000 extra. So you are given the 16 week 4 months of time, but if it passes 4 months, you require to pay the penalty of 10,000 rupees per week. Okay. So if you go 17 weeks, you are going to pay back the 20,000 rupees. In the same way, it says that if you finish the project before 1 week, they are giving you to give you the 10,000 extra. In the same fashion, if you complete it within say before 2 weeks, it can give you the 20,000 extra likewise. So what you generally go with, you try to find out the time that can you use to finish this project. So here you will have the optimal time. Okay, here you will have the average time, and the worst time is always the time where you get the penalty, or where you get no penalty, at least what we call as the hedging time. This is added use in the PERT, obviously. Okay, so you are in the, I would say, your optimal time you are considering that is possible for you to finish everything in 12 weeks only, that is within 3 months. Okay, so what you get actually 0 to 11, not here written here 12, 0 to 11. So you get around 40,000 rupees extra if you finish this. So you will set your due for the optimal time. At the same time, you can give with the leverage of this margin. So you can go with this to 14 week for the average timing. So you will expect that at least 10,000 rupees extra you like to earn on that 1 lakh rupees, and this there comes this governing of the project, okay, in a picture. And this governing of the project is considered in this planning, arranging, scheduling, as well as in coordinating. And how the team members will come to know all these things. So for that purpose, you can have a node, a rectangular node, just like this. Here you can give activity name, and then you can divide this rectangular node so into 1 2 or something, let's say 1. Because these nodes are actually designed as per the requirement of project, you can have the 2 or 3 or something like this. You can have these things. Okay, here you can have the uh, thing. So here you are having what you say, start, when the things are going to start, when these things are going to finish. Okay, then here you are having the early start. Means start time is, say suppose you want to, you are expected to start some event tomorrow, instead you started that event today itself, then it is called as a early start. Okay, and so suppose you are expected to finish something uh, today, but you actually finished that yesterday, that is called as early finish. So you are in the start, finish, early start, and early finish. In the same way, here you are in the optimal time, then you are having what we call as the average time. Okay, then you are having the hedge time, the time where you are actually making no loss, no profit. And then here you are having the worst time where you are actually making loss. Here you are having the activity name. So you can have such a node, and then the node get connected with each other, and you can show this node to the team member, and you can say that is if you follow these things, if you meet the early finish and early start, okay, then you will remain. If you meet early finish and early start maximum time while executing the project, then you will remain in this, what you can say, zone, what we call as optimal or average zone. But if you not manage to set this early finish and early start in every activity, and somewhere you go with the finish, somewhere you go with the start, and likewise, then you may remain in the hedging zone, that is no profit no loss. You got the order of 1 lakh rupees and you get the 1 lakh rupees only. Okay, you finish this on the given due date. But if you not stick within the boundaries of this, what we call this as the worst case, that then you start losing money in the particular project, and this is what the PERT means. Okay, so this is a simple scenario, and every activity, every such activity or the activities may get connected with each other. Sometimes what's happened in a project, you got two or three activities. Let's say suppose one activity require 2 months, another activity require 3 months, but those activity can be done parallelly. Then these two activities inclusively require only 3 months, because whichever the activity is lengthier is the time required. So this is what you can say. So you can arrange those activities in a way that those activities can be executed or can be implemented or can be what you can say conducted in parallel, so that you can reach to the optimal or average what you can say timing. Okay, hedging is equivalent to worst case. Okay, so a simple thing. So this is what a PERT network generally, or this program evaluation or review technique actually try to find out, because in a military they require to always predict with the what you can say unpredictability. So this PERT is actually designed for unpredictability, uh, and is considered three aspects of the time: uh, original, that is optimal, average, and worst case. Okay, hedging activity is actually added by me, is something what you can say advancement in a PERT, you can say technique. So then you are having the CPM. CPM was developed in 1950 by James Kelly and Morgan Walker. It is mainly used in projects to determine critical as well as non-critical tasks that will help in preventing conflicts and reduce the bottlenecks. CPM helps in calculating the least amount of time to complete a task with the least amount of wastage of the resources and other things, by choosing a right path. And this CPM has been used in many industries, starting from defense, construction, software, aerospace, etc. PERT is also used everywhere nowadays. CPM and PERT are same. The only thing is that CPM is what we call as the construct say was designed and developed by James Kelly for the known time things. Okay, not like the PERT. So it is deterministic in nature, and it won't consider the unpredictability of the projects. Okay, so now we are going to see the differences between PERT and CPM. So if the question is asked, what are the differences in a PERT and CPM, you can answer that this using like the PERT is event oriented technique, and CPM is the activity oriented technique. Because generally when you what is event? Event is the group of activities. Okay, so CPM is a more you can say minute, and CPM won't consider the three dimensions of time like optimal, average, and worst. Is consider that it is having the start time and the finish time. So only one, there is no optimal time, there is no average time, there is no worst time in a CPM. Second is this PERT, because it uses the four or five dimensions of time. So there is a probability that you may finish the project within time, you may finish the project after time, you may finish the project early time. Okay, so there is always the probability. So this is a probabilistic model, and so this actually handles what the uncertainty in the duration of the project completion, PERT. While the CPM, or the critical path method, is a deterministic model characterized by certainty. So it's won't consider that is it will finish on early, or it's finished late, or it's finished on time. It say that it's on time. Okay, so this is the start, this is the end. It's just like our lectures. It starts on the 10:45, ends at the 11:45, and likewise. So this is a CPM. So our timetable is what? The representation of a critical path method to conduct a what you can say teaching course. And the PERT is what? Our examination method is a probabilistic, because due to certain conditions you may require to postpone the examination. Okay, due to network incapabilities, sometimes you may require to give the extra time for the submission to the student of the online papers, and likewise. So it is a PERT network, but activities are same. Okay, similar, not exactly same. So what is the focus of the PERT is on the time of completion of a project. Okay, so what is said, that is must have to be optimal, while the focus of this CPM is on a time cost trade-off in a project. We have already learned about this trade-off methods, ATM trade-off method in the software engineering and project management, I think in unit number 3 or 4. Okay, you can go through that. So that is a CPM. Okay, so critical path method, that's used. Then in a PERT there is actually no crashing concept, while in CPM crashing concept is applicable. Okay, to crashing concept is a concept where you can say completing the project say, or shortening the project time just by choosing a right path. In PERT there is no such thing as a choosing a right path. What PERT says that there are timing, there are three type of timing, so you have to consider the worst and prepare for the best, or you have to prepare for the worst and consider the best, like that thing. So there is no crashing concept. While in CPM you create the entire network and then you try to find out the shortest path which will complete the project before time. Okay, so that is what you say crashing concept, which is applicable only in a CPM. It is not applicable in a PERT, because crashing concept is possible if there is a certainty. In uncertain conditions where there is a probabilistic nature of the time is there, these things are not possible. Now, where PERT networks or PERT project networks are applicable, PERT project networks are suitable for high precision time estimation of projects that are unpredictable and whose activities are non-repetitive. Means you are not repeating the activities of the thing. For example, in military operation, when you attack on someone, because PERT is actually designed and developed by US Navy. Okay, so it is a project network definition of the military operations. So if you are attacking on the enemy and if you repeat your act, the enemy can learn your movement. And if the enemy learn your movement, then it will become very difficult to defeat them. And that's why in a PERT, no activity is repeated, no activity is repeated more than once, and that is what you can say the PERT network. Now in CPM, suitable for the projects that are predictable. For example, you want to complete the house, you want to complete your degree, so tenure is fixed and it is what you can say suitable for projects, but they are predictable, you and whose activities are repetitive, so you require to repeatedly do the same thing. For example, let's say suppose you want to construct your body and you want to build your body, what you are going, you have to do the repetitive exercise. If you want to construct your brain, means your intellect, you require to do the repeatedly the study of the same subject, then you will become a master in that particular subject. So simple thing, if you go on the programming and something, you require to repeatedly do the programming, and you require to say in a cyclic way, you have to check your program for its correctness, and likewise. So these activities are repetitive, and so time estimation for such project is made under reasonable forms, and so these are for the discrete and where there is a time cost trade-off is possible. So there is no probability in the CPM projects, while PERT projects are always probabilistic and you don't know exact outcome of the things. So what are the advantages of using PERT and CPM, and what are the disadvantages of PERT and CPM? Why I said and? Because nowadays, because these two techniques are actually introduced in early 1950s, and from them, so if you go with the time, right now they are almost 100-year old. Okay, 1950 and 50 what the 2020s around 70 74 some years means like something. So these techniques are evolved in this duration in such a way that nowadays they are merged into each other with a very minute or negligible difference remaining between them, and that's why PERT, whatever the advantages of PERTs are the advantages of CPM, and whatever the advantages of CPM are the advantages of PERT, and similar is the case with the disadvantage of PERT and CPM. Many project management expertise generally consider PERT and CPM as nowadays as the same, or they use them synonymously. Means even if they draw the CPM, they say they draw the PERT, and even if they draw the PERT, they say they are drawing the CPM, because in reality there is no such project in existence which is not having what you can say some uncertainty in it, and in reality there is no such project in existence which is not having some certainty in it. So based on that you can say PERT and CPM are quite merged with each other, and so there are some advantages of them and disadvantages. So if the question asks, you can give them. So what are the advantages of PERT and CPM? First, they helps you to map all the details in a diagram using graphs, so easy to organize. Critical path will help you determine how an activity will affect the project deadline. A PERT diagram helps you think logically about the resources and the deadlines. Uh, Fourth advantage of PERT and CPM is that they can help you understand the measure the details that are required to be accomplished to not miss the deadline, because you require to complete your project, you require to complete any activity in your life within a time. If you go means if you finish it early, it is sometimes not good. If you finish it afterwards, it is simply useless. You have to finish it on time or in within time, and that's why you have to understand that. Then fifth is that is help this advantage of PERT and CPM is it help you to understand which paths can be delayed and which paths need more focus to not miss the deadline. For example, whenever you carry out any project, in that project you have the two or three tasks. One task is such a, the very basic task that you require to complete anyhow. Okay, so whatever the task that you are carrying out, you require to complete that task within the stipulated time only. Then there is another task what we call as a say help understand that something which you have to complete, but there are soft times. Even if you make some delay in completing that particular task, it is what you can say permissible, and there are certain tasks that you require to complete and should have to complete if you want to achieve something. So based on that you can create the path and you can arrange the tasks in a project, and that's arrangement criteria you can understand by constructing a PERT or CPM for the same thing. Now you can minimize the time and the cost of the entire project using PERT. Yes, Sakshi, what's your question? Sakshi Hole, what's your question? I am unmuting you. Yes, Sakshi. Okay. You people raise the hand and afterward. Yes, start. Uh, I'm not hearing any sound
कोरोना
from you.
बऱ्यापैकी चाललं होतं. मग आता काय माहिती काय होतंय. कारण
Hello.
आमच्या बॅचला तर आमच्या बॅचची फुल लागणार आहे. आत्ताची जी लास्ट इयरला गेली ना त्यांची पण वाट लागली. त्यांना इंडस्ट्रियल प्रोजेक्टच करता येत नाहीये. घरी बसून राहिलेत आणि कॉलेज मागतंय इंडस्ट्री इंटर्नशिप. डिग्रीज भेटायला जवळजवळ त्यांचं 1 वर्ष वाया जायला बसलंय. दीदी पण म्हणत होती ती ही वाली मडगुलवाडीची. इनकमिंग व्हॉइस कॉल. हा.
Hello, Sakshi. Okay, I think
माझं वर्ष वाया जाते. ऍडमिशन.
ऍडमिशनच्या संदर्भात माझ्याशी बोलत आहे का तू? Okay. Dear students, don't get annoyed by these industrial projects and something. This is the information actually asked by AICTE. Okay, and we are simply giving this information to AICTE. It's not going to affect your degree years or something. So don't get, what can I say, panic just because there are certain due dates that we require, the institute required to fulfill within time. So whether it's a Sakshi or someone who is facing this type of problems, first thing, be calm, be cool. None of the teaching staff from our college is going to, what you can say, put you in a danger of not having your degree. These things are happening due to the COVID-19. Almost everyone from in the authority, UGC, AICT, university, governments, all are not knowing what exactly have to do, because no one have ever faced such situation in their life. Not me, neither you, nor anyone in the world. Okay, so some, what you can say, things are there which maybe what can say, not seemingly uniform, so, or good. They are seems like a chaos, but one thing is sure, no one is going to damage your career just for this little bit things. They are just trying to get the maximum information from all the institutes India wide. Okay, so it's not with have nothing to do with your degree or something. It's just the information that we require to give to the AICT, and every year we are giving this information. This year what happened, due to the work from home thing. Okay, due to work from home thing, due to this COVID-19 corona virus courtesy to China. Okay, uh, we are bit in what can say, unpredictable situation. Okay, so sometimes there, but don't get panic by if anything asked by the college regarding projects and other details to you. This is just the information that we require to give to the AICT and other bodies, because that is how the AICT come to know what exactly we are so conducting like that. So it's not something, it's a routine work. Okay, it's not going to affect your degree or any other operations, but don't get panic by that. Okay, and even don't go into the depression or the negativity. It's just the part of our life. Things happens, sometime good, sometime bad. Life goes on. Okay, and you should have to be with life, not with the smaller things that happens in your life. Okay, whether someone say yes or someone say no, whether something good happens to you or whether something bad happens to you, always keep in your mind, anything that happens to you passes by, and one day they come, everyone passes by, me, you, no one is here permanent. We all are have started our journey at some time in the past, and we are going to finish our journey in some time in future. Okay, and that is life, and that life is the uncertainty. It is a part actually. What you can say, if you consider your life as a project, you can simply evaluate your entire life, and you'll find you actually earn many things than losing them. Okay, uh, leave it. So six is a minimize the time and cost of the entire project. If you have the proper PERT and CPM, even for your study and everything, if you consider that as a project, and if you create the time chart or network chart, and if you go, that is, you can do this within time, you can do this like that. You can minimize the time and cost required to complete that particular project or the task in your hand, and it will help you in thing. And the seventh advantage of the PERT and CPM is the optimal utilization of resources. So obviously, PERT help you in optimally use all the resources, uh, and like PERT and CPM. So if I say PERT, you also listen the CPM. If I say CPM, that also means the PERT and CPM together. Okay. Nowadays, these two things are not considered as a different thing by many project management expert. So now, what are the disadvantages of the PERT and CPM? So question may be asked, what are the disadvantages of PERT and CPM? So the first disadvantage is it works best when a person has experience and understanding. Obviously, let's say suppose I created a very good timetable. I'm going to wake up early in the morning, 4:30 a.m. going to do the exercise for next 2 hours, and at 6:30 I will go do the freshness and something, and after say on 7 I will take my morning snacks, and likewise. But who is going to do that after designing the timetable? Timetable is ready, means your PERT or CPM is ready, but no one is following. That's what comes the extreme programming says that you require courage. Courage means courage is not something that is you can face the tiger barehandedly. Courage means sticking with the plan that you actually created to achieve something. It's very difficult thing. Every one of we know that exercise makes us strong. Then good food makes us healthy. Study makes us intelligent. Likewise, but how many of we actually follow the things? Yes, I am also not the exception. Sometimes I go lethargic. I don't do the exercise on daily basis, and likewise you also go lethargic. But so even with the timetable, we are not following it correctly. So the PERT and CPM works best if the person has the experience and understanding of the project diagram, and likewise. So if the person have courage to stick with that particular we can say schedule, then and then only this scheduling will work. नाही तर लक्षात राहिलं पाहिजे म्हणून आपण एखाद्या गोष्टीला गाठ मारून ठेवायची आणि ती मारलेली गाठच विसरून जायचं. So who will remember what? It's just like that. So this is the first disadvantage. Second disadvantage is it only works best when the team has the experience to estimate the accurate time frame. Okay, it says that is if you have the 100 pools, okay, they will never give you any output. One intelligent is sufficient. Yes. So that is what you say. So whatever the team members are there, they require to have a cohesive type of team and must have to stick with the frame. Likewise, so that is the second disadvantage. So obviously these are not the disadvantage of PERT and CPM. These are the disadvantage of human tendency not to follow what we can say many things, because we are quite tend to entertainment than the studies. For example, let's say suppose you start a YouTube channel for dancing, singing, and doing some foolish things. You will get lot of followers. You start as a YouTube channel for studying serious research and something. You will get very few followers. Okay, every time we require to ask people who are actually in serious study, kindly subscribe, and likewise, and we get very few सब्सक्रिप्शन. जैसे अभी मेरा एक दोस्त है, उसके बच्चे ने यूट्यूब चैनल शुरू कर दिया, एंड ही एक्चुअली डन व्हाट, सिंग सम सॉन्ग्स, डू सम नास्टी थिंग, वो चिल्ला पो मचाते हैं छोटे बच्चे लाइक दैट एंड समथिंग, एंड ही गॉट विद इन 2 months, within this span of this COVID months, okay, around few thousand followers. And I am having my channel for last 2 3 years. Okay, I'm still not reaching 2000. Why this is happening? Because the human tendency is the very basic disadvantage of having any good system, or say making any good system a failure. A PERT and CPM, if you see this, is not the PERT and CPM's disadvantage. These are the disadvantage of not having what you can say a team which has the experience. If your team is not having the experience to estimate, okay, if a person uh, has the experience and understanding, then and then only it works. If it is not having the these things, okay, if person is not having the experience and the understanding, okay, if the team don't have the how to experience for how to estimate the things, the PERT and CPM won't work. So it is actually not the disadvantage of PERT and CPM, but it is mentioned in the disadvantage of PERT and CPM. Then diagram becomes complicated if the project is too big. It's always the thing. जैसे अब आपको मैं पर्ट एंड सीपीएम आई वांट टू गिव यू अ सिंपल एग्जांपल. आपके पास सामने एक खाने की थाली परोसी है, तो आप कैसे खाना खाते हो? सारा खाना एक साथ खाओगे? नहीं. व्हाट वी डू, हम छोटे छोटे इसमें पार्ट्स में वो खाना पूरा करते हैं. ठीक है ना? पहले रोटी सब्जी खाएंगे, उसके बाद चावल दाल खाएंगे, बीच में चटनी वगैरह लेंगे. इस तरह से हम वो खाना फिनिश करते हैं. वी आर नॉट पुटिंग एवरीथिंग एट वंस इन आवर माउथ. Yes, so that is what we call as a PERT and CPM. Dividing a project into a smaller manageable parts. Okay, so if you are a very big project, instead of creating a PERT for the entire project, divide that project into smaller sub project, and then for that every sub project creates the PERT and CPM diagram. Then diagram will not become complicated. But sometimes what happen, if the team is not having the sufficient experience of this, they create unnecessarily complicated diagram. Okay, or they go unnecessarily into panic, and this is what we are saying. This is the third disadvantage. Fourth disadvantage of the PERT and CPM is that if the project is far too bulky and lengthy, all the map outlines become incomprehensible. So obviously, if it is too bulky, means the project is बहुत बड़ा project होगा, तो it's become unnecessarily complicated, and it also becomes unnecessarily, what you can say, bothering to the participants, and project may fail. The best example is the BCPL project, Basic Computer Programming Language projects, led by the people like Dennis Ritchie, which simply break down into pieces due to its sheer bulkiness, and too much time and resources started mugging up. So it's what got divided into three parts. Then the project B, project C, and project PL. So B project created the interpretive language BASIC. C project created the C language, mother of all computer languages, and then project created the PL language, which is actually the mother of all data manipulation languages. Okay, so if the project is there, but lengthy, map outlines becomes incomprehensible, you can't work with that, so you require to divide the project. So it cannot be properly monitor the allocation of resources. Obviously, because these projects are generally designed on paper, this PERT and CPM or something, and you don't know what exactly going to happen in actual situation, and sometimes the resource allocations may not get given properly, and the monitoring also become quite difficult if you are having too many things going in parallel. Okay, so that is the one disadvantage of the system itself. It is not the disadvantage of due to the human tendency. While the up to fourth disadvantage, it's all the disadvantage due to the human tendency. For example, let's say suppose if I ask you to prepare PERT and CPM, and I give you the 10 pages notes, it's very easy for you because 10 pages means it's not bulky. But if I give that 1000 pages book for the PERT and CPM, what will happen? The sheer size of book itself will restrain you from learning the things. Yes, so that is what the saying. So up to fourth, first to fourth, due to the human tendency. That's then six is the inability to control the schedule of the person involved in the project. So obviously this is not again the disadvantage of PERT of CPM actually, but the person involved. ठीक है ना? फॉर एग्जाम्पल, मैंने आप लोगों को TAE2 का ये दिया था, नोट्स दिए, इंस्ट्रक्शंस दिए, एवरीथिंग आई हैव गिवन, या that this is the template. You can choose any subject of your liking, and likewise, and TAE2 submission, very few people have done that submission. I'm actually said 2 days before that I'm closing the TE2 submission from the 13th of August, and today is the final or the last date for the submission. Afterward, whatever come, I'm not going to accept that. Means I'm not going to evaluate that. I'm just going to give the 0 marks to those people who have not submitted anything. So who submitted the presentation, they are going to get the 2 marks, and 2 marks are based on your recordings analysis. Okay, so your recording is not getting the marks, but your recordings, whatever you have explained that in your recording, that is going to get the rest 2 marks. So like that. And that is what we call a person involved. How involved you in the process or in a project defines whether that project will be completed on time or not. आपकी कोई इन्वॉल्वमेंट ही नहीं होगी. This also goes with our personal life. You don't, if you not get involved in your say life, your life not going to reward you with prizes. Yes, so life, you should have to involve there also. Life is itself a project. So next or the last, what you can say, the disadvantage of the PERT and CPM is very difficult to redraw entire CPM if there are sudden changes. Obviously, right now we got the sudden changes in our operations. Okay, due to this COVID-19, and these sudden changes actually made many of the institution very, what you can say, vulnerable, or they simply all the institution in awe. They can't guess right now how to create the operational sequence or operational order or PERT or CPM for the operations in this uncertain situation of COVID-19. And that is what you say, redrawing the CPM is very, very difficult, and that is actually not again the disadvantage of a PERT or CPM, but it is the disadvantage of some catastrophic risk or some risks in the project which are simply unmanageable. In that case, it becomes quite difficult to alter the CPM, to alter the PERT, and even if you are having the PERT and CPM, even if you are having the some timetable, you may fail in completing that project. So these are the disadvantages of PERT and CPM. So what I think that you learn the very basics principles of PERT and CPM in this lecture. Tomorrow we are going to see all, what you can say, the different examples on PERT on CPM with 2 3 problems, and some revision of the things. Uh, Officially speaking, with this lecture, your SCPM syllabus is briefly covered. I won't say it is completely covered because I am yet not, what you can say, confident enough to say I am the master of the software engineering. It is the continuously evolving field. Every now and then there are new methods coming into the market, there are new technologies coming into market, and to master each and every technology or even each and every language, each and every methodology is just the out of scope of the lifetime of a person. So the software engineering and project management is the subject that you require to practice for lifetime if you really want to, what can I say, learn few things out from it, because it's actually deal with the product development, it's actually deal with the people, it actually deal with the what you can say, process, and likewise so it actually deal with the many parts of the person. So you have to consider the human and social science, you have to consider the psychology of the people, you have to consider the psychology of stakeholders, you have to consider the psychology of your customer, you have to consider the psychology of developer, you have to consider psychology of owner. There are many plannings and something. So this is a very, very difficult subject if you really want to master. It is the principal subject of any software development. Okay, so in a software development, model building was actually given by Jacobson, engineering is by Mayer, discipline is given by Humphrey, poetry say, and like these are the things. So what is and isn't software development? Kraft, Knuth, Gabriel. So Knuth and these are the thing. So if you know this, what it is, you can apply all the solution. If you don't know, you can't apply the all solution. So with this last slide, saying that is theory of the PERT and CPM is briefly covered. If you are having any question, any queries, or if you are not understood anything from today's session, You can ask the questions in the question and answer. I'm going to upload this presentation which I created yesterday itself on the Google Classroom. Okay, so don't bother about that also. With the notes, 30 pages notes on PERT and CPM with examples and everything. So you have any questions, ask. If you won't have the questions, uh, as usual, I expect thumbs up. Okay. So who ended the training session?